Well, first of all, this is a great day for Idaho. You know, we have been working with this collaborative process for 8 long years. And although it required a tremendous amount of patience, the fact is we've made it over the finish line and the president has now signed the bill into law. This shows that collaboration can work, because the reason it took 8 years to get here is that we literally worked stream by stream and trail by trail and parcel by parcel to evaluate how to best manage and protect these lands while still preserving the cultural heritage and the multiple use opportunities for the people who live there. And literally everyone is better off under this legislation than they are under the status quo. I think this is going to become a model for how we approach environmental and land management decision making in the country. Yes, a representation of the various interest groups in Idaho who've worked on this bill, of people, were there. We had Chairman Robert Baer, who is the chairman of the Shoshone-Paiute tribes. We had Rick Johnson of the Idaho Conservation League, who was there. And then, of course, we had Fred Grant, who was really the glue, who held all of the Owyhee initiative process together throughout this very extensive period of collaboration. And there were many other people who could have, and if the president had had room in the room for them, who could have been there. But I'm sure they're all watching right now as this process is being streamed out to all of America. And the fact that we had such a strong representation from Idaho there shows the interest of Idahoans in this very incredibly important legislation. Well, this is the first time in 29 years that Idaho has had wilderness legislation pass. And it's very historically significant because during that 29 years, we have been engaged in conflict and battle over land management decisions that has almost every time ended up in court or in some kind of a negative consequence, not only for the land and the environmental values that we are seeking to preserve, but for the people who live on the land. And what this represents today is a change from that 20 or 30-year history of conflict to a new model of environmental decision making, one based on collaboration and bringing people together. And as I said before, literally this legislation makes it better for every single interest group involved than the status quo. And I personally believe that it's going to be a model for how we approach decision making on land management issues in the future. I don't call this a wilderness bill, I call it a comprehensive land management bill, because it deals not just with designation of wilderness and wild and scenic rivers, but it protects private property ownership, and it preserves ranching, and it protects the opportunity for hunting and fishing, and creates a travel management plan for off-road vehicle use. And the list goes on. It protects the tribe's cultural heritage. It protects the Air Force training range, and all of the different kinds of uses to which we put this special land. That's why I call it a comprehensive land management bill, and why I believe this model of decision making is going to be one that can be very, very helpful in the future across the country.
It's a beautiful, beautiful day in the city of Washington and a beautiful day in Owyhee County. I just can't imagine the more serious and really important ceremony as the President and Secretary Salazar made their presentations, because that's what they talked about is resolution of conflicts that's going to help the economy in the West and preserve that all of us want preserved. I thought it was a wonderful ceremony. And I think that, you know, some of the people in the private property organizations that have opposed some of the other bills in this package, if they would just look to the process that we used, the collaborative process with the initiative, they could use that same process in all of those other elements. And then you get people from across the board, the conservation groups, the ranchers, the farmers, the small business people, the recreation, and all of their interests are taken into account. And it works. And Senator Crapo believed it 8 years ago, and he made it work.
Our part, with our tribe, we've been working hard with Senator Crapo and his staff, and also with the Owyhee commissioners. And I think without that collaboration and the patience, the trust, and overall, I think everything worked out fine today. I mean, this is long overdue, but I think it's for the protection of our natural resources as a whole, and I think this is bringing us a step closer, but I really look forward to working with each and every one in the future here. This is just the first step right now. Just because the president signed the bill doesn't mean that everything stops now. I mean, there's a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of effort, and what it's going to take is that team mentality, and we must work together to complete this.
I thought it was a really extraordinary day for Idaho, but also the whole American West in total. You know, it was really a culmination of collaborative conservation. People from all walks of life come together and proving for first time in quite a while that it can be done this way. So I thought it was tremendously exciting. Well, I think there's a bunch of collaboration that happened at all different levels. One was in just our community. The conservation community had a lot of people working together, doing a really good job. And then you're really, what is a true collaboration, though, is when you can bring in the folks that are viewed as your adversaries and sit down at the table. And in the case of the Oahe Initiative, there were some real hard-working people that spent 8 years literally sitting down. Craig Yerke, Fred Grant, who were co-chairs of this effort, really deserve extraordinary credit for bringing this to the President's desk.